Everyone. Today, Senator Kelly and I are here to deliver petitions to the Secretary of State from members of our caucus requesting a special session to expand the LIHEAP program. As we've heard over the last couple of months, and certainly in the recent weeks, we are seeing an extreme pressure being put on this system, not just because fuel costs are increasing, but because more members of our residents of Connecticut need to participate in this program. Times are tough for everybody. And so what we are asking for, because Democrats refused to amend that plan a month ago in order to address the issue, is we want us to go into special session. I know this governor and many Democrats have said we could wait till January, but what we are seeing clearly, January is too late, and it needs to be addressed today. Applications are opening. Money will be distributed, and by some of these agencies, they're projecting that they may be running out of money by December. And so we are asking our counterparts to join us in signing these petitions and bring us into special session to address this issue.
Thank you, Vin. As I've been walking around the state and in my district for the past couple weeks, it's apparent that Connecticut families are struggling financially. Connecticut is unaffordable. We have inflation, and the cost of heating is growing. Last year, I think a gallon of home heating oil was under $3. This year, it's $4.50. And when we see what the cut the governor proposed and did, these are real statistics. It's going to reduce home heating oil assistance by nearly $3,000 to a family. To a senior on $2,000 income for a month, their benefit's going to be cut from $3,000 last year to $730 this year. That's not even a tank of oil. And the majority's response is wait. Wait. While they sit on resources that can help. Now, I can go back to the days when I started working in the State Department of Social Services. It wasn't called that then, it was the Department of Income Maintenance. But I started in the energy program. And I did home visits in the greater Bridgeport area to look at the heating source. And too often, because people couldn't afford oil, you'd find a portable electric heater. Or worse, you'd find a senior couple who moved into their kitchen so they could heat one room with their oven, a gas oven. To put people in that place, this isn't like inflation where you can not buy Cheerios, buy Oreos, or buy a less expensive alternative. When you need heat, you need heat. This will be a crisis. And when people don't have a choice, they resort to things like portable electric heaters or gas stoves. And in Connecticut, we're better than that. We're better than that. We can afford it. And that's why we're here delivering petitions. But even if we get every single Republican legislator to sign on with us, we can't do it alone. And what we should be doing here in this state is what they did in New Hampshire. Work on a bipartisan manner to get assistance to people in need. So we're asking Democrats to join us, to find it in their hearts, to sign on to the petition, to do what we do under this Capitol dome. And that is bring help to people in need. So we hope they'll join us. We have till September 30th to get this done. And with their help, we'll be successful.
Yeah, so each chamber needs to hit 50%. I think in our chamber we're around 40, and so we obviously would need to get to a 76 or 77 mark in order to go into session.
Yeah, and in the Senate we need 19. There's only 13 Republicans, so we still need 6 Democrats, and to date we don't even have one.
Can you say exactly how many you've got in each chamber?
For us, for Republicans, so I think in the Senate they have about 10 right now, and in the House we have about 40. We still have petitions that are straggling in, and we are filing them now and holding this press conference now to give Democrats an opportunity to know that we have started this process. We have until the end of September. We need them to join in. That's statutorily the deadline in order to call us in a session. There's a window once the petitions start being signed that they all need to be collected, and I believe it's 60 days. So it has a time period.
Should you be successful, what happens next? And has a special session ever been forced?
We've, in our lifetime, have never seen, in our political lifetime, has seen us go into special session. But if we are successful at hitting the numbers, then I believe the Secretary of State is authorized then to call us into session to address the issue that is outlined in that petition. And that is specifically to address the huge shortfall in LIHEAP funding.
You said you've never seen a special, you mean you've never seen a petition special session?
Correct.
Do you know, has there been one? I don't recall.
A petition? I don't ever recall, but it possibly could have happened, decades ago.
The governor had said earlier this month when you guys brought this issue up that they were working with utility companies to try to get folks on a payment plan to try to ease any kind of increase of inflationary cost. Have you heard anything about that, and what's your reaction?
Well, here once again, what you want to do is I'm going to say try to bring dignity to this situation. People like to pay their bills, and they like to pay their bills on time. To ask these utilities to carry people, I think is difficult for the consumer. But as I indicated at the outset, is that really the solution? Do we want families that may have home heating oil to have to resort to a portable electric heater, or worse, their gas stove, because they know that's the heating source that's not going to be cut? I don't think we want people resorting to those which we know can be hazardous. We want to do this the right way. We want to make sure the people that are in need have dignity, and the way to do that is to use the money that is already sitting on the sidelines. Let's put that surplus into action and give people the help that they need.
And Jody, in addition, our plan also addresses what we heard from the oil companies saying we can't float government, for 60 days. We need a more truncated payment plan. And we address the shortfalls that they might be seeing. The Democrats' response was forget it, and let's give them a truck tax instead. So to now sit here and try to get them in their room and be cooperative is really frustrating, because they're already hit with massive increases in their cost because of bad action from Democrats. And so, that's going to be an issue, I think, that we are going to need to address, because if these oil companies choose not to participate in this program, which we are hearing that's also happening, we're going to have an even bigger problem. So part of these reforms are also to address the unworkable system that is currently put in place, that these oil companies want to help, but they can't because they can't finance government programs.
When you say
The LIHEAP program, yes.
$80 million that's available, right? $80 million.
A little bit under that, I think.
And your plan would provide how much more?
Overall, I think it's about $120 million that we would increase into this plan.
Maybe 200 million, basically is what you're saying.
it
It'll go from 80 to 200 million.
roughly, I think it's like 192 million. Yes.
Governor Lamont said that it's additional 80 million. The last time we called for a session, probably a special session a couple of weeks ago, Governor Lamont said it's additional 35, 80 million. He's comfortable that that will last. Anybody knows from your point of view, with much higher prices, that 80 million won't last until January when they go to the session.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where the governor is getting his numbers from, but clearly this program has been slashed from last year, and we're going to see a 5% projected increase in participation, plus fuel costs have increased. So to say that this program is okay the way it is completely nonsensical. On every level, it is going to be overstrapped.
It's political. You want to respond to that? It's obviously 7 weeks after election day.
Well, I mean, obviously everything has a political overtone when we're getting close to the election cycle. But, you know, we don't hear Democrats addressing the needs of our residents. And yet they hold press conference after press conference on issues that don't even impact the state of Connecticut. And that's not accused of being political. This is an issue that needs to be addressed now in order to have a properly running program. So granted, they could try to discredit us by claiming it's political, but the reality is there is a real need out there and people are suffering. And I would argue that they're the ones being political by not addressing it.
Yeah, and let's just put it in perspective. We started at this in June when we had an $800 million surplus at the end of the fiscal year and asked to put money to restore money to LIHEAP. Then, when it was in committee, the majority was given an opportunity to fund this. We wanted to run an amendment, just like they did in 2008 with a Republican governor. They didn't want to have any appetite then. We saw, because we know, in talking with the families across Connecticut, that heating is going to be a crisis. The increase from $3 to $4.50 this year, the inflation that has been crippling the Connecticut economy, and the scarcity of oil in New England is only going to drive the cost up. Now, last year, there was $82 million from the federal government. It was cut to $79 million by the federal government, controlled by the same party. This year,
The scarcity of oil in New England, what is that about?
supply and demand.
Is less oil available?
There's going to be less oil. This is what we're reading. I've read in the news that there's going to be less oil in New England than in prior years. When you have less of a resource, the cost normally goes up. Okay? Now this year, the governor cuts. The governor cut about $50 million from the LIHEAP line from state funding. That's a 40% cut. What it's done is it's reduced the poorest households went from about $4,000 to $1,000. It's a $3,000 cut to the poorest households, and to seniors, they're going to get about $730 in fuel for the winter. That's not one full tank of oil. So to say this is political, when you have people in need, seniors, the disabled, and kids under 7, that's the population that we're really looking at with LIHEAP. This isn't politics. This is people in need. And as a government, we're sitting on cash and have the ability to address those issues and bring help. This is what we do. And so to just brush it off as politics when you're dealing with people and people in need, I think is an unfair characterization. This should have been done by the majority in June. This could have been done by the majority in July and August. The fact that we're here in September continuing to ask for this, I think, is uncalled for. But we're here because this need persists and will continue to be here until it's addressed.
I recall when you guys announced this earlier this month, Democrats said that they might coming, or you guys might be coming back into session in December to deal with the gas tax or some of those other expiring things. Is that too late? December?
Well, the gas tax expires on December 1st, so I'm not sure, we would need to come in sooner than later. I'm all ears to hear what taxes relief they want to provide, which they inadequately provided when they passed their budget. I'd be more than happy to have that conversation. I think we should be reducing the income tax too. So we're willing to have those conversations, but we think they need to be had now because of this LIHEAP program, not in December or January.
I think their point was after the election, right? After the campaign season, the political season.
Yeah, and I get that, but it doesn't work for the LIHEAP program. Because applications are being submitted now, and the program is beginning now. And so we want to have a conversation about expanding the eligibility. So if that doesn't happen until December, it's too late for these residents that need the help. So it really needs to happen now.